Hello everybody, I'm Miss Lisa and welcome back to another episode of ARTREE Goes Almost Live. Today I'm going to show you how to draw a portrait. A portrait is a drawing or a painting of a person. It's usually from the head and shoulders, but it can be a full body portrait as well. Maybe you'll include the arms, the legs, the feet. What we're going to do first of all is talk about the materials that we'll use. And I want to tell you a little fun bit of information. I'm going to be doing a little bit of math with you today. I'm going to show you how math can help you in your drawing. And that's a really good thing to know. Okay, so what are we going to need today? We'll need a piece or a few pieces of white paper to draw on. And we'll need a couple pencils. I have my favorite pencils here. One of them is a 7B, which is a nice dark pencil. I have also an HB pencil, which is sort of a medium light. And then I have a light lead, which is a 2H pencil. H means that it's a hard lead, and so not so much graphite comes out on the paper, and it will give you a lighter line. I've also got my very favorite mechanical pencil. I've got a lot of these from Costco. I love them. I use them a lot when I draw in my sketchbooks. I pretty much use only mechanical pencils now when I'm out and about sketching. And you might also want your favorite box of crayons, because of course you can do portraiture in color with crayons, or you can use watercolors to go over your drawing. Okay, so let's get started now. I am going to show you how you can draw a light line and a darker line with the same pencil, just in case you didn't know that. And I'm going to start with my 2H pencil, which again is a hard lead, so you would expect that it will only draw a light line. And so here are some light lines. But if I press down with it, I can draw a darker line as well. And you can try this with any of your pencils at home. Here's a HB pencil, so it's going to be a little bit darker. So here I'm hardly pressing down at all. It's a very light pressure on the paper. But if I press down, you can see I can make a much darker line. And now my favorite pencil is always like a 7B or an 8B or a 9B. They go up to 9, and I love the dark pencils. But even with a dark pencil, you can draw very lightly. So here I'm hardly putting any pressure on the pencil. And here when I press down, you can see I can get a nice dark line. And this is important when I draw, because at the beginning of a drawing, when I'm getting my shapes, I will draw very, very lightly, and I'll go round and round and round until I get that shape. And then I use that shape and I just carry on. I try not to erase. There are very few times that I will use an eraser, and I'll show you a couple of those times while we're doing portraits, because that is one of the places I will use an eraser. But for the most part, I do not use an eraser. And for those of you that have me for art, you will know that I don't let the kids use erasers if they can help it. We really try to carry on without them, because when you have an eraser, you are more worried about the mistakes you think you're making, whereas if you don't have an eraser, you will just carry on and find out you can do wonderful art. Okay, try not to use an eraser. So here I'm going to be showing you how I can start out with a light line to get my oval shape. So if you think about the head, we're going to be making an oval, aren't we? And then we might modify that oval to make it look more like an egg shape, because human heads are a bit egg-shaped, really. So I'm going to start out with my 7B pencil, which I showed you makes very dark lines, but I'm going to be pressing very lightly, so they'll start out with a lighter oval shape, and then I'll go darker as I'm happy with that shape. And if you want to start out with a 2H pencil or something that's harder so that you don't have to draw so lightly, that's fine too. Okay, so yours doesn't have to look like mine. I just want to show you how I would start. And you can pause the video at any time you like and go ahead and do an oval shape. We're going to use this for the head. Okay, so you see how I've gone round and round and round a couple times without using any pressure. And that and very loosely too. I'm not really struggling with this. I'm going very loosely around my oval shape. So I want you all to get a nice oval. If you don't have an oval yet, pause the video and give yourself an oval. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is go over this oval again with a darker line now. So I'm using more pressure. And now I'm going to take a very light line and I'm going to draw a line of symmetry. Remember we talked about that last week when we were doing the butterfly symmetry? We're going to draw a line that divides this oval shape in half. So it's like we have a mirror right here on the line of symmetry that's reflecting one side and the other side so that they are mirror images of each other. So this is our line of symmetry, and it's going to help us place the features of the face in this oval shape. I'm also going to do a horizontal line, and it's going to divide this line in half. So I'm just going to look at the distance from here to here, and I'm going to think about where is the halfway point along it. Does this equal that? I think it's pretty close. I'm going to put a little dot there, and then I'm going to draw a horizontal line that goes right through that dot. Okay, and the reason we do this is because this is where we want to place the eyes. The eyes are halfway down your head. I'm just going to fix that slightly. Okay, so the eyes are halfway from the top of your head to your chin. And so that's why we put this line along the center of the oval shape. We want to make sure that we put the eyes low enough, because normally when we draw faces, we give the eyes lots of importance because we spend a lot of our lives looking at people in the eyes. So we make the eyes very important in our minds, and that means they take up a lot of space on the face, where in reality they really don't. Okay, so we're going to make them along the center of the head, and we are going to make them the right size by thinking about putting 5 eye widths along this line. Now, what exactly do I mean by that? What I mean is that you can, in your mind, imagine that there are 5 eyes. 2, 3, 4, 5. That there are 5 eyes along this line. Now we're going to make 4 dots. 1, 2, 4. So we're going to erase, that's one place we'll erase. Right now we're going to erase that line, that dot that we put in the middle of this line. I'm going to erase that because we only want 4 dots now along this line. And we're going to place the eye here. We can draw a very light curved line up, curved line down. We're going to skip this center section because this is the part between the eyes. And then we're going to draw a curved line up, curved line down. There's the second eye. And then we've got the side of the head. And the eyes are approximately this shape, approximately the shape of the curved line up and curved line down. So we can start with that shape, and then we're going to place the iris, which is the color part of the eye. Sometimes the iris is green, sometimes it's blue, sometimes it's brown. And it is a large circle that's somewhat covered by the top eyelid, and usually a bit of it is covered by the lower eyelid as well. They're not little circles in the middle of your eye. They're actually pretty big. And if you look at your eyes in the mirror, you'll see that the color portion is pretty big. And then inside the iris, you're going to have the pupil, which is the black dot in the center, and it sits right in the middle of the iris. And the iris itself, like I said, could be brown or green or blue. And then you have your pupil in the middle. And then we have an eyelid, an upper eyelid. We do not have a lower eyelid, but we have an upper eyelid, which is usually a curved piece of skin. The fold. It's a fold here. And when you close your eye, the eyelid will come down over the eye and protect the eye. So when the eye is open, you only see the fold. But as you close your eye, you'll be able to see much more of the eyelid. And when the eyes are open like this, we will just see a curve of skin. And at the edge of the curve, you might see some eyelashes. Let's put that curve of skin, some eyelashes. Sometimes we have eyelashes on the bottom here, even though we don't have an eyelid at the bottom. And then we're going to place some eyebrows. We need some eyebrows next. Eyebrows are these little hairy portions above the eyes. And we can put the eyebrow, it usually starts at about the corner of the eye, so that is a good place. If you think of an imaginary line that goes right from the corner of the eye up a little bit, that's where the eyebrows start. And they're usually kind of an arched shape that is wider near the nose and narrower when it comes away from the nose. And they're usually longer than the end of the eye. So let's draw in some eyebrows. If you need to pause the video here, you can do that. I'm going to erase that line. And it's a little bit challenging sometimes to make them look similar but mirror images of each other. It takes practice, so don't worry if you don't get it straight away. Okay, so I've got some eyebrows on this person now. And that's going to help us put the nose in the right place, because the nose is halfway between the top of the eyebrow and the chin. Okay, so if we put a marker here at the top of the eyebrows, just to help us put the nose in the right place. And we look at the chin, and we're looking at the distance from here to here, from the top of the eyebrows to the chin, and we divide that distance in half so that this part is about the same as this part. That's where the bottom of the nose goes, right at that point. So I'm going to draw the bottom of the nose in, and it's going to be about as wide as the corner of the eye. So if I draw a very light line down from the corner of the eye and a little bit of a curve here, and then at that outer limit we can put the edge of the nostrils, so are sometimes called the wings of the nose. And don't worry if the nose is a little bit tricky for you. Sometimes it's easier than others, but noses are a place that people often have trouble. And then from the bottom of the nose, we can place the mouth now, because we need to do a little bit more math. We want to divide the distance from the bottom of the nose to the chin. So now we're looking at this line here. We want to divide that into thirds. So we can put two little dots along this line. And this part is about equal to this part, which is about equal to this part. So we've got thirds, 1, 2, 3. And if we draw a horizontal line through the first third, this is where the mouth is going to be. And the mouth is about as wide as the distance between the pupils. So we can go ahead and put that distance in there. And then, so that's the first third. The second third will give us the top of the chin. We can just kind of draw a little bit of an indication of the chin. And then we can put some lips on this mouth. The top lip is kind of the shape of a flying bird. We can come up, down, up, okay, like a flying bird, or two hills. And the lower lip is just a curved line. We can go ahead and add the curve. Okay, and then we've got the chin. And now what we have to do is put the ears on. And the ears are actually longer than you think. Ears are pretty long, and so we're going to help us put them in the right place and make them the right size by looking at the distance between, so that halfway between the eye, the top of the eye and the eyebrow. And then the bottom of the nose, we're going to make a very light line that goes along the face at the bottom of the nose. And this distance from between the eye and the eyebrow down to the bottom of the nose is the length of the ear. And we're looking at that ear from the front, so we don't get a ton of shape, because most of it you would see if you looked at the head from the side. But we can go ahead and give it a little bit of shape. Remember, it's going to end at about the bottom of the nose. So here's a little bit of ear shape. And then we're going to add the neck. The neck starts not way down here, but more up here, okay? So there's some neck, some shoulders. We'll stop there with the lower part, and we'll come back to the hair now. So we want to make the hairline approximately halfway from the top of the eyebrow to the top of the head. Just draw a little line across there. And then you can think about what kind of hair you want this portrait to have. Is it going to be like the hair pulled back if it was a girl? Or if a guy, is it going to be like, or a girl might have hair more of a mohawk style, or some kind of a interesting cut and sort of sticking out style. It's all up to you. If you wanted this person to have bangs, they would be coming down on the forehead like this. I think I'm going to do something like this. And then it's going to come up and behind the ears. Come down. Is it a short style? Let's see. Yeah, maybe it'll be short this time. Sort of short and maybe a little bit layered down here. Some different lengths. And I think when it comes up behind the ear, it's going to come like this and be a little bit fluffy on top, like this. And then behind the ear here and down. Okay, and then the neckline of the shirt, I think, is going to be a V-neck. And the shoulders, top of the arm would be here, but we'll not draw the arms. We're just going to draw this much of the face. And now I want to put some color on it. So let's take a look at these crayons. Oh, let me stop and tell you, here's one place that you can erase. We're going to take the guidelines away now. So we don't have to have this crisscross in the nose. And we don't have to have this line at the side of the head, because that just helped us get the eyes in the right place. So we'll take that away. We don't have to have the lines here at the bottom of the nose, or the lines here that go right down the chin. Okay, so now it looks a little bit more like a person when we take away all those guidelines, but they were very useful for helping us get the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and the ears in the right place. So let me just dump out my crayons here and see what colors I have. And I'm going to go with a brown and, what is this, an apricot sort of color for the skin. I think the hair is going to be a darker, maybe black. And the eyes, I think, will be blue. And the lip color, maybe, let's go with this color. And I think I will put her in a green shirt. So let's just start with these colors and see where we go. If I make the color on the outside darker and lighter as I get towards over the cheeks here, it's going to help round out the face so it won't look so flat. By the way, here's a couple more places I can erase these little dots. Okay. So if I start with this light peachy color, and of course you can choose any colors you want. But I want to show you how you can start to make the face look a little bit more three-dimensional. I'm just going to quickly put this color on. Now the crayon and the pencil kind of mix together to create this kind of gray color across there, but that doesn't bother me. I'm okay with that. All right, what we're going to do now is we're going to add some shading to make the face look a little bit more three-dimensional. So I'm going to take the brown color and I'm going to go around the side of the head. Put the ear in shadow as well. And the side of the face. And then when I come down here, there's going to be shadow under the chin. And that's pretty dark shadow usually. So I'll put a little bit of pressure on my crayon and create this darker area under the chin. And also, we can use the shading to give the nose a little bit of shape. There's usually a shadow under the nose here, because usually the light's coming from, the top and shooting down over the face, falling down over the face. And you usually get a little bit of shadow under the nose and a little bit of shadow on the side of the nose. And that shadow usually comes up under the eyebrow a bit. And that will help us get the shape of the nose by using the shadow. Usually darker area under the tip of the nose, just because of the shadow. The nose is going to be turning away from the light. Okay, so that's a very quick flesh tone coloring. I'm also going to darken the eyebrows. And I think I won't, did I say her eyes were going to be blue? The pupil is going to be black. The pupil is always black. No matter what color the iris, the pupil will be black. And I'm going to give some more definition to that eyelid by making the eyelid a darker brown. There we go. And maybe there'll be some little eyelashes on the edge of the eyelid. And then we're going to go on to the lips. And I'm going to use the darker sort of red violet first. And I'm just going to color the top of the lip that color. The lower lip usually appears to be lighter because it's not, the light will be hitting it usually a little bit easier. The top lip usually appears to be darker. So I'll just do like that. And let's do some hair. behind the ear in this case. And then back here, it's going to be a little bit darker. And that helps to really define the side of the face as well. Okay, let's go on to a shirt color. I think I said I was going to use green. And I'm not going to do too much to the shirt. Just an indication of where the shirt is. You can do more or less as you like. This is the top of the shoulder here. All right. I'm also going to just take my black crayon, and if you're using pencil, you can do this with pencil. Just darken a little bit on the side of the iris there to give it some more definition. Maybe a little bit of dark under at the top of the at the bottom of the eye, sorry, at the bottom of the eye. And I think this one is nearly done. So let's review quickly what we did. Okay, we started out with an egg shape because human faces are somewhat egg-shaped. Let me just do a little bit more shading on the side here while I'm talking to you. And so to get that egg shape, we used a very light line to begin with, a little pressure. And we went round and round and round, trying to make an oval shape that we were happy with. And when we found a nice oval shape, we used greater pressure to darken that line. And then we took a very light line down the center of the face, which will divide the face in half and give us guidelines for our mirror symmetry. And then we drew a horizontal line that was halfway between the top of the head and the chin. Okay, from the top of the head to the chin, we went down halfway and drew a line. And that line tells us where to put the eyes, because the eyes are halfway down your head. They're not up in your forehead, right? Although we tend to think that they are. So we put our line across, and then we remember that the eyes are 5 eye widths across your head. Okay, so if we think about from the side of the head, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we drew those little dots, and then we did curve line up, curve line down, curve line up, curve line down. And then we put in the shape of the iris, and we put in the pupils, and we made an upper eyelid and some eyelashes. And then we put the eyebrows. The eyebrows are these hairy bits that are above the eye. And those are important because that helps us put the nose in the right place, of all things, right? And we get that by going to the top of the eyebrows and the bottom of the chin, and we measure that distance in our heads. We think, well, okay. And then we take half that distance and we draw a little line. And that's going to be the bottom of the nose. Okay, that's why that measurement is important. We have to get the bottom of the nose in the right place. And the bottom of the nose can be drawn with a straight line just for now, or you can actually make kind of like a little V shape, and then the side of the nose can be made with two little curves. And the width of the bottom of the nose is going to be about the same as the distance between the eyes. And then after we get that far, we just need to put the mouth in the right place. And we do that by taking the distance from the bottom of the nose to the chin and dividing that into thirds. So we have 1, 2, 3. And we draw a line at the first third, and that is going to be the center of the mouth. And the center of the mouth is about the distance between the pupils. So I could actually move this side over just a little bit. It's about the distance between the pupils. And then the second, there's some skin, and then the last third is where the chin would be. And having said that, I should put a little bit of shadow under here. And then we're going to place the ears. And the ears are kind of funny because they're bigger than we think they are. We tend to draw little ears, but the ears are actually about as far from the middle of the eyebrow. The middle of the eyebrow and the eye down to the bottom of the nose. So that's kind of a long shape, and we can just draw that as kind of a little wiggly thing on the side of the head. We don't want to get too detailed at this point because we don't see much of the ear from the front. And then after we get the ears in the right place, we're going to put the hair on. Just leave a little bit of forehead showing, and you can add hairstyle anywhere you like. And then we can start coloring it. And remember that when you color, if you use a darker color around the edges and under the eyebrows and down the side of the nose, you'll start to be able to see a little bit of a three-dimensional shape coming out. And that's always super exciting. There's always going to be a shadow, a darker area under the chin because this area is being shaded by the rest of the head, right? There's a head above the neck, and so this area is going to have a bit of shadow. And there's going to be usually a bit of shadow on the side of the head. And there's usually going to be a bit of shadow very close to the hairline because the hair is making a little shadow that's casting on the forehead. And there's always going to be some kind of shadow around the nose. Okay, so in this case, we drew shadow on either side of the nose, a little bit on the bottom, and definitely down here where the nostrils would be. So we're thinking about the light, in this case, maybe coming down somewhere, maybe more like this. Okay, but there's going to be a little bit of a shadow under there. So that's how we ended up with our portrait. Try it yourself. I think you'll enjoy this. Once you learn how to draw faces, you'll be drawing them all the time. So I hope you enjoy your art. Stay inside, stay safe, and enjoy what you're doing. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.